Okay, now let's talk about a loan amortization over here. Okay, loan amortization is a way to allocate your payments, okay, over certain time periods, okay? But when we say amortization, we assume one thing, that means each individual period we pay equal payments, okay? So which is different from the bond we were going to introduce for later chapters. That means when you just make each individual equal payments, you are paying partially interest and partially principal. Okay, so in that case, we have amortization schedule over there. Okay, and then we're going to introduce in a little bit. You can see the interest and the principal payments actually change over time. Okay, depending which periods you're talking about. Okay, so essentially, what are we doing over here? Okay, let me remind you. Loan amortization determined the equal payments for every single period for a specific time period. Okay, what does that look like to you? Yes, annuities, right? The only difference is right now I know the present value and I want to know what's going to be the payments over here, right? But before we know the payments, I want to know the present value and the future value. So you're only just calculating the payments over here. Okay, so in other words, you're doing the cash flows or the payments given what's going to be the present value. Okay, so examples for loan amortization will be mortgage. For example, that's one typical amortized loan because normally you have borrowed loans for 30 years. That means you are facing 360 payments, monthly payments. And then you have to know what's going to be the interest we can qualify over there, depending on your credit scores and your background, documentation, that kind of stuff. And then you figure out how much you have to pay. Okay, that pay has to be appropriate. Okay, compared to your monthly paycheck. Okay, another type you probably use it more often, which is a loan payment, car loan payment. Same thing. Okay, it's still determined based on the total purchasing price of your car and how long you plan to pay it off. Okay, 5 years or 3 years like this, and then they determine what's going to be the payments you are facing every single month. Okay, it's due months. So to start with, let's not go with a monthly payment because that's a little bit more complicated. We can introduce it in a little bit. But let's introduce something over here. You can borrow $6,000 total at 10%, and then you will make equal payments for the next 4 years. Okay, so in that case, what's gonna be your yearly payment over here? So first thing I show you is I'm just using this equation. 6,000 my present value, 10 is my interest rate, and then 4 is my time periods. I figured it out it's actually 1892.82. Okay, that's basically my yearly payment. Okay, what does this yearly payment represent? Okay, so I want to show you over here this schedule first. Initially, you borrow $6,000. And then this is going to be your payment determined for 4 periods. Okay, you can see all of them are equal to each other, right? Exactly our definition for annuities. Okay, now this is a decomposition between interest and a principal because I said each individual payment over here include 2 parts, interest and a principal. Okay, so how do I know the interest? Easy, right? If I borrow 6,000, the first year my 6,000 are going to give me an interest equal to 6,000 multiplied by 10. So in that case, I got 600. Okay, that means if I'm paying 1892, the remaining 1292 will be my principal payment. Make sense? So total I'm paying this. If 600 is my interest, the remaining must be my principal. Okay, so remember, if you pay off that much of the principal, you wouldn't have the 6,000 standing for next period. Your total beginning principal will be reduced by this much. So your end of principal is equal to this number. This number minus this number equal to your end balance, which is lower than before, supposedly, right? And then I bring this back to the beginning of the period. Why do I need to do that? Because I need to determine a new interest. Okay, for that. Okay, and then so the new interest has been determined. Whatever left is a principal. If I repay the principal, my total balance is gonna go down again. Same thing. Okay, I repeat it for 3 times, and then you can see the last thing I do is I basically totally repay my principal over here. Okay, including part of the interest I need to pay. Can you see that process? So what can you see over here? Initially, because you have a high principal or high outstanding balance over there, your interest is large. Okay, it's getting smaller and smaller because you repay part of the principal. And your principal, because you have the same loan payment, what's going to happen to your principal? It's getting higher and higher. Can you see that? Until you repay the total balance or outstanding balance over here. So I just gave you a basically a breakdown of all the numbers over here. Okay, so that might be a little bit small difference in terms of the cents. Okay, just because this is a rounding mistake. Okay, so after we understand all this concept of the loan amortization schedule, let's go back to see how we do the calculation. Okay, easy enough, right? Using your financial calculator, putting 6,000 as present value, N as 4, I as 10%, and I compute the payment, okay, which is equal to 1892.82 over here. Okay, so I believe that with your background in using the financial calculator, now you should be able to follow this and do the calculation. Okay, please do that. Okay, do not just watch this and then just stand basically still over there. Just do something over here with this.